Welcome to Behind the Pyramids, a Moody Gardens podcast. I am your host, Jared Schaller, and I'm very excited for today's guest, Executive Chef Bobby Ross for Shearn Seafood and Prime Steaks, located on the ninth floor of the Moody Gardens Hotel. Thank you so much, Chef Bobby, for taking the time to speak with me.
You're welcome. Very excited.
All right, let me just say, just saying steaks has already made me hungry. First of all, Chef Ross, can you tell me what the difference is between a chef and executive chef is?
So normally an executive chef at any restaurant or hotel, we are the executive chefs are top of the hierarchy in the kitchen. So we're more dealing with leadership, teaching the chefs how to cook, recipes, developing stuff, and things like that. As chef, we're mostly are in charge of a station. So, like at Shearn's, the grill station, which is the busiest, there'll be one of our chefs that kind of operate and run the daily operation of that station.
Oh. So you're the executive chef. You're the one
Yes.
that kind of oversees it all, makes sure all the food's being prepared correctly.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I need to make friends with you then. All right, let's talk about Shearn's. I want you to
Okay.
get my mouth watering. Tell us about the food. I love steak. I love seafood. I pretty much like anything usually. I see some people ordering, what are some of the best dishes to get?
One of the best new dishes I would recommend is a snapper Wellington. It's like a classic kind of everybody heard of the beef Wellington, right? Wrapped in the pastry. It's a classic dish, but we kind of modernized it and used Gulf snapper, which is stuffed with our crab meat stuffing, and then we kind of wrap it in our pastry and bake it off. And you got that crispy, flaky crust on the outside that everybody loves, and then you got the moist, fresh seafood in the inside. So it's been one of our guests popular, and of course, for me, my favorite is on the steak side is the 16-ounce cowboy ribeye, bone in. You can't go wrong with that. It's the best of the best, and it's just one of our most guest popular dishes.
You can never go wrong with a steak. Do all like the steaks have like a Shearn seasoning or something special? I know you may not be able to reveal all the secrets, but is there like something y'all use to make it just taste where I want to keep coming back?
Yeah, and it's first off, it's the cut of the steak because we only use serve prime steak, which is has to be graded by USDA. So the marbling and how everything it comes to us has got to be perfect before we even serve it to our guests. That makes a big difference. And there is a big container that says secret steak seasoning. I'm still trying to figure out what they got in there, but it's the good stuff. So
You're like, I ain't giving you the answer.
yeah.
No, I didn't even know that's what USDA meant, where they, inspect the steaks. Do you inspect all the steaks when they come in, I guess?
No, it's actually they inspect it from the factory. So by the
Oh,
time we get it, it's just kind of approval that it's been inspected and met the criteria to be graded a certain grade.
okay. So speaking of steaks, you see here different things. People like their steaks different ways.
Hmm.
Chefs have a differing opinion, but what's the perfect temperature to cook a steak for me to order a steak? Because I see some people really ordering some really rare steaks, and I'm like, I don't know if I have the
Hmm.
guts to do that yet.
I like it medium rare to medium.
Hmm.
So that's cooking it to about 130, 140 temperature. So that gives you kind of the warm peak center where it's not too rare, then it's not too overdone. Um, I think that's the best way to kind of be on the safe side, especially if you do go out and stuff like that. I think the medium rare to medium is the perfect cook temperature for me.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that then. I think medium well is the lowest I've ever gone yet. So
Yeah,
so I'm like, when finally went from well to medium well, I'm like, it does have a lot more flavor. So
yeah,
maybe I'll head to the medium and then the medium rare next.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about wine. I did a little research. Shearn has a pretty extensive wine menu, more than 6 pages worth.
Hmm.
How important is it for the correct type of wine for a dish like steak?
The wine pairing. So, you have a good meal And if you learn to enjoy wine, that good meal and the herbs and the spices that we put on the steak, that can turn into a memorable experience. So it's just kind of because the wine, the acidity and stuff can bring out the different flavors that we use to cook the steak. It can kind of take it to the next level. So I think that's kind of will be from cooking at home to really coming in and enjoying wine and the different meats and seafood and actually getting that paired. That's where it's you can't get that at home type of meal.
Yeah. So increasing that deliciousness level.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, because that's another thing. I'm terrible at pairing and all that stuff.
Yeah. I'd say, for the people that's starting off, keep the dark meats with the red wine and keep the light meat, the seafood with the white. Start from there and then kind of build on it and then see how it goes.
Yeah. So that leads us into the next area.
Hmm.
Shearn's is starting to host some special wine dinners this year. Raymond's Vineyards wine dinner is Wednesday, April 16th, and I know Chateau Buena Vista's wine dinner is Wednesday, July 23rd this summer, so you still have plenty of time to book
Hmm.
it. Both starting at 6:30 p.m. What can someone attending expect from those events?
The first wine dinner we did last year uh, for me here at Moody Gardens and Shearns, the guest, wow, that was their comment. So it's just not about the food and the pairing, just how we articulate the food, how the food looks, the presentation, how it matches the wine. And it's going to be a dining experience like no other. Um, it's going to be an experience probably like nobody has experienced because we put a lot of love and thought into the menu and how we create and how each dish looks. So it's going to be an over the top experience.
Over the top and memorable, I'm sure.
Hmm.
And make you want to come back for more, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I was looking at the menu, 4 courses, each each part had a different wine pairing.
Hmm.
All of it just sounded like, I better come with an empty stomach and
Yeah,
just plenty of hours just to enjoy it all.
yeah. It is it does take a while, and we're not rushing. We want everybody to enjoy themselves and have a good time. And of course, we have the wine expert there who speaks about the wine, and the chef there to kind of guide you through the food. So it's a really good time.
Okay, so still on the wine dinners, how do you figure out, because it's kind of like a different vineyard or wine selection each time. How do you figure out the menu? Because they aren't just
You
copy
know,
and paste, you know.
I say it's just a representation of myself and my team's journey. So all the different places we've been, all the different places we lived, those are kind of the bits and pieces, that we put together to create the menu. So there's a lot of thought into it. There's a lot of culture to it. So it takes a lot of team effort, and then it takes a lot of different backgrounds. So it's definitely a menu that you're just not going to find down the road.
That's that's because you bring a lot of your passion into the food, is what it seems
Hmm.
like to me. Like
Yeah.
we recently did a road trip.
Yeah.
Most people would just not, they care, no, not really be like, oh, very particular. But you brought everything you needed to make every
Hmm.
single plate look delicious, be
Yeah.
delicious. So it's just awesome to hear about. You really put your passion into your plates.
Sure.
So it was just really cool to see. I want to talk about atmosphere.
Hmm.
I went up there, ninth floor. I would say it's a one of a kind view for of Galveston Island. What's it
Hmm.
like at Shearns? I know a lot of people like to visit for special moments like graduations,
Hmm.
weddings, quinceañeras, job promotions, or just a night out.
Yeah.
What's the
It-
atmosphere?
we do kind of a traditional, I would say, kind of like a old school feel fine dining where it's not just about the food, but you're gonna get the whole experience. So we're gonna start you off with the moose bouche, kind of tickle your taste buds a little bit, and then after the appetizer, we serve you a sorbet for clean the palate. So you're getting the entire steps of service, where you probably haven't experienced before. So it's definitely the whole experience with the food, the service, and being able to enjoy the view. It's definitely, you know, probably one of the best foods, you would experience. And that's what I love to hear when I talk to some of our guests that are traveling through, like they're coming for the cruise, and they say, wow, this was amazing. So that's our goal. That's what we're trying to do, and that's the type of food that we're trying to cook.
Sounds fantastic. Okay, for those watching, and I'm not even, what is an amuse-bouche?
So it's like it's like a small little bite size, let's say, hors d'oeuvre or appetizer that kind of gets you started. So it changes every day. It kind of gets your taste bud kind of going, so you're ready for the whole experience.
What would be your favorite amuse-bouche?
Sometimes we have, like, either it's a tuna tartare, or we use like beef carpaccio. It depends on the availability and the seasoning, and we rotate it out. So a lot of times, my team, this is a time to be creative too. So it's a learning moment for everybody, and then we come up with something super fun.
And is that important to you? Like, you're talking about availability and seasonality, when you are thinking of menu options to add or take away at a place like Shearn's, that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use the Gulf shrimp upstairs, and we try to keep things local, fresh, fresh caught, things like that. So it's definitely even the product that we source has to meet our standard before we bring it in to serve the guests.
Nothing beats Gulf shrimp, seriously.
Yeah.
There's plenty of imitations, but you can't beat a Gulf shrimp.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me your best pitch. Why should someone come out and spend their evening at Shearn's?
So I always think, like, well, how would I want to be dined and wined if I go out to eat or whatever? So, I came to eat as a guest at Shearn's. I've been at Shearn's probably close to 2 years with my family, and my kids, they look at me and say, Dad, why don't you cook like this at home? so if they love it, you guys are going to love it. They put me on the spot, so I got to step up my game at home.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out, because I hear nothing but good things, and just the atmosphere and vibe and those night floor views just sound incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely check it out. Check out the wine dinners. You don't want to miss it. It's a fun, exciting, kind of new thing to do, with someone that you want to spend time with, just to get out and get away from all the noise and just enjoy yourself.
I've always wanted to do like a 4-course or 5-course meal, so that just sounds like a great opportunity just to kind of splurge a little bit, go out with a friend or two, and just have a very nice night out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Executive Chef Bobby Ross at Shearn Seafood and Prime Steaks. Thank you for taking the time.
I appreciate it.
Most definitely. And for those watching, I want to hear from you. There's a whole lot here at Moody Gardens, especially food-wise. If you want to know more about the food at Shearn's, or, wines or wine pairings or what goes with what, just let me know, and I'm sure I can get Executive Chef Bobby Ross back. Let me know at podcast@moodygardens.org. You might just get your answer in a future podcast. And I'm Jared Schaller. Thank you for streaming Behind the Pyramids and Moody Gardens podcast. I'll see y'all real soon.
Bye.